Good afternoon, everyone. This is our update for January 14th. Happy Thursday. One more day of the week to get through the first session, and we're looking forward to that. A couple quick things to go through today, and I think we're going to start with Leah's report.
Yes, thanks, Mark. I've just been listening to the debate on the Senate floor. The Senate just passed SB 14, which extends the current emergency declaration regarding the COVID-19 pandemic from the January 26th expiration date to March 31st of 2021. That gives the legislature time to have the declaration continue and have protections in place while the legislature takes what everyone is calling a deeper dive into the issues surrounding a statewide emergency proclamation and how the legislature should move forward with a more comprehensive state law that deals with wide-reaching emergencies such as a pandemic in opposition to the way the law was written back in the day, as we say, and it was really meant to apply to fires, floods, tornadoes, something sort of local and something relatively short term. So the legislature is going to take a look at a longer term, more comprehensive law regarding emergency proclamations and state emergencies. But meanwhile, as of this afternoon, the current emergency declaration will stay in place through the end of March of this year. And they've now moved on to their debate on their truth in taxation bill, which we're monitoring, but doesn't really specifically impact school districts.
Yeah, that's a bill that passed last year and was vetoed.
That's correct.
Part of it. We'll continue to monitor that. And then, Scott, you were watching the House version of the COVID response bill in Judiciary. What is the status there?
Right. I guess the House is a step behind the Senate. Their bill was in committee today. Fred Patton's House Judiciary Committee. They kicked out a bill. It's going to be a little different. They passed an amendment that would extend the ability to take that deeper dive that Leah was talking about until January 24th, 2022. This was an amendment that Democrats did not think was a good idea. Republicans said, we need this extra time in case the legislature is shut down because of the pandemic. And so, and the Democrats said, well, this just kind of takes away any incentive to get things done. So that was one of the major amendments. And there was, Democratic pushback from several of the members. Representative Heiberger said, we wouldn't be doing this bill if the governor were a member of the majority party. And so I think you're going to see some partisan divide on this issue.
Okay, what else did we see today, Leah? You had some morning. I'll just note I spent my day listening to the budget committees get told how to put a budget together, kind of a briefing by staff, but no specific issue. As you know, the Governor Kelly released her budget yesterday, but it'll be a few days or weeks before they start digging into it. I guess one interesting thing that, again, in the spirit of a different session, the chairman of the Appropriations Committee, Waymaster, said today they wanted to really move up the deadlines for moving through the budget process, trying to get it done by the end of February, which would be a month early and before the usual turnaround. So there certainly does seem to continue to be a sense that the legislature is really in a hurry, presumably because of COVID worries. Leah, what else did you hit today?
I hit Senate Local Government, which is a newer committee this year. It's a previous committee was split into two new committees. The part that I was monitoring was this discussion of the U.S. Census. As you may remember, it seems like a long time ago, but the 2020 census was supposed to end, well, in a timely fashion. Anyway, as you probably remember, the census was plagued by a number of issues in 2020. Why should we be surprised? Because it was 2020 after all. There were natural disasters, there were political issues around it, and the count ended up being sort of rushed at the end and ended earlier than had originally been planned. And so as a result, the Senate Local Government Committee heard today that some of the data, not surprisingly, that was collected in that rushed effort is not really very good, especially around race and some of those things. But another, probably the most important thing for our purposes is that sort of, I'm just going to call it damage data or funky data will not affect our federal funding that we receive as a result of the census numbers, but it does affect the redistricting data that is delivered to states. However, Kansas does not do its redistricting until 2 years after the federal census is completed. So while that is that delayed delivery of the census redistricting data is inconvenient and troubling in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't seem like it will directly impact our redistricting processes here in Kansas, at least not at this point.
Well, this is, I think, the first report we've done from my basement when my dogs decided to get into the action. So I apologize if there is some background noise on that. I think that kind of wraps up the highlights of today. You can join us tomorrow at noon through our more formal noon Zoom advocacy update. You can register through the KASB website as you would to attend other meetings, no charge. We look forward to seeing you then. So we won't do one of our short updates. And then Monday, the legislature is off for the Martin Luther King holiday, so we would expect to be back probably on Tuesday. We will say there is kind of growing discussion at the State House over security around possible protests involving the inauguration next week. So we'll continue to see where we'll be doing these reports from. No major bills of great consequence have been introduced yet, but there are a lot of committees starting to look at reports and those things. Leah?
Just wanted to note, Mark, we had a bill that was introduced in between yesterday's video update and today. Representative Brenda Landwehr did introduce the tuition tax credit scholarship bill yesterday in House K-12 education. And that was introduced yesterday at about 3:30, just after we did our daily update. So if you receive our news briefs, you know that, but if you didn't, and if you don't, and why not, please sign up. Just a quick note there, and we'll discuss that more tomorrow during our noon Zoom. And this is my, I guess, evening phone call from the American Red Cross asking me to donate blood.
Phone calls, dogs, it's kind of chaos everywhere, but we appreciate your sticking with us, everyone, and join us tomorrow. Follow us.